that there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dark pass away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds. Whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside. A treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't mask their cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise. All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be found.
Winter reveals the hidden lie. Moonlight could mask their cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel this evening. If you've not been here before, my name is Elizabeth, and this is Hillbilly Crime. So welcome to the show. Everybody, come on in. Come on in. We got a whole bunch of people here already. Tonight is something. I had to take a blood pressure pill about 3:30, 4 o'clock. My heart was just beating so hard I thought it was going to beat out of my chest from all of the victims that are starting to come forward anonymously, of course. But a lot of stuff I can't talk about yet, just because it ain't time. It ain't quite time yet. But trust me, it's all coming out. Oh yeah, honey, it's all coming out. And there's a lot of people who are scared. I just tell you, they're scared. Miss Trudy, looking forward to it. Striving for Titus 2, ready and waiting. You know, a whole lot of this stuff is not secrets. It's all open. It was all done in the open, and everybody knew about it. Everybody knew about it. So any of these people that were like, oh, well, I didn't know a thing. BS. Oh, yeah, BS. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for any of them. Never miss watching you. I'll wait all day for you to come on. Well, bless your heart. It's just, you know, you couldn't make this stuff up. Like whenever it was first starting, like I've said many times, a lot of these rumors have been going on forever that I know of. I've heard them ever since I've lived here. I've always heard the rumors. But when you hear rumors, that's exactly what you think of. It is that telephone game, where it's went through so many people, and people's put their own little twists on it, or they've added or taken away. It never ends up what it started out as, And so I think by default, or our natural instinct is probably to be skeptical, when you hear gossip, when you hear rumors. This is different. This is different. This isn't gossip. It's not the little old ladies on Sunday morning gossiping about what happened during the week. No. These are crimes. This is pure organized crime. I don't know how it's not sex trafficking. I don't know how it's not human trafficking. And if there was any law enforcement agency worth their salt that did an actual investigation on any of this stuff, they would have found it. I found it. I have found it. And what's really strange is that I've had people tell me that they've also told their stories to investigators. So that means the investigators have been told the same stuff that I've been told. Where's that at? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see on some of it. Some of it, I'm just going to have to keep piling up the evidence, keep stacking it up. Miss Marnie, as always, one of our very loyal and favorite mods. Thank you, Miss Marnie. Bugman, driving home, I'll be listening. We always look forward to seeing you here. Dave Clifton, hello, honey. Coal miner's daughter. Trudy, let's see. Lori, Jim Jett, Nene Brown, chat mods, Miss Lori, Dave, Miss Elizabeth. So we are going to listen to another one of the audios tonight. And I pulled up, if any of you guys tonight were with us whenever we listened to one of these audios, if you'll remember, you couldn't really quite hear what they were saying. The investigator Easter, the Attorney General's investigator, and the victim, you couldn't really hear them very well because Ned Pillersdorf and the other detective, or I don't even know who the other person was in there, but they were sitting, it sounds like they were sitting right next to them, and you can hear their conversation more and better than you can Easter and the victim's conversation, which was very unprofessional, especially when it's something that's so important. You would think that you would want to give this victim enough respect to hear her story, to hear what she says happened to her. You would think that they would know better. I mean, it's pure unprofessional, big time, at least according to me. According to me. But, what do I know? What do I know? I don't know nothing. Crafts, chats, and catastrophe. All evil in this world will be vindicated eventually. Well, we sure beg God. I pray that God watches over me every single night, and the devil's no match for God. He's no match for God, not for my God. My pastor used to say, we serve a big God. We serve a big God. Ask big. Well, I mean, he doesn't always answer big, but sometimes he does. Oh, sometimes he does. Tammy, hi, Elizabeth, and everyone. Great title. Nightmare on Hillbilly Street. Because that's what a lot of people have been living here for a very long time, is a nightmare. I can't go to the grocery store without, I mean, I went to the grocery store not too awful long ago, and I had 2 women who were employees of that grocery store. Employees who were telling me their story about them being victims of the system and how they abuse the system. Now, I've told y'all what they did to me. They abused every which way they turned. Everything they did was a vindictive power play. Everything that they did, there was nothing that they did in good faith. Nothing. I mean, they started out, I was a target, and they were going to take me down. They were going to destroy my life and everything in it. Take my kids from me. And they tried really, really hard. They really tried. But thank God they didn't. They didn't get that far with me. It took me a long time fighting. $6,000 and 6 years of my life for it to be completely over. I was dealing with the consequences of it 6 years later. I'm finally free of it all. But that's how much they can hurt your life. And I got lucky. What if they had actually taken my kids? My kids hadn't never been away from me. I mean, I could count on one hand at that time how many times my children had ever stayed with anybody, even grandparents. My kids don't have no grandparents other than my mom, and she's not a real she's a great mama. But she's not the cookie bacon, she wants to go out and do her thing, and she's earned that. She's in her 80s. She sure didn't need to be taking care of kids, my kids. But that's my point is, if they had taken my children from me, they would have done more harm to my kids than they would have ever done to me. It would have been to my kids. And that's why when I see these posts up on Facebook about, I'm dedicated to protecting the kids. Children, I'm going to protect the children. Whose children are you protecting besides your own? And there ain't nobody, you ain't even got to worry about that. Like, you're making all that up anyway. But what about the children of all these IRV pays that have been in court in Letcher County? Oh, well, they get off real good deals. What about those children? What about all these victims? All of these women, all of these victims, those are somebody's child. Those are somebody's daughters. But for some reason, I guess it's just human nature, but we don't tend to really understand what other people are going through until we end up going through something ourselves. Until it actually affects us, we don't understand what other people are going through. We really don't. That's why it's so important to have what's called empathy. And it's also really important to have what's called emotional intelligence. Oh my gosh, these might be words that might be 4-letter words. I'm telling you, like, I'm just so upset over so much of this stuff. I told you I had to take a blood pressure pill today because it just gets me so, like, the rest of the world knows this stuff is wrong. Like, we know right from wrong. Yes, please. Thank you. Sarah became a YouTube member. Yay. Thank you, Miss Connie. Thank you, Miss Connie. All right. So I'm going to pull up this. And I got to remember not to mute my thing. So if my dog barks, I'll just have to jump up and grab her. Oh, okay. Off to the races, y'all.
It is 4:13. Present myself, Detective Easter. I'm at the Kentucky River Regional Jail here in Perry County to attempt to talk to.
I'm going to fast forward this because it's a lot of air. Now, he's went to the Hazard Jail, the Perry County Jail. That is one of our neighboring counties. It's about 35 minutes.
Benfield approached me.
Maybe.
Girl's office.
Yeah.
Ned Pillersdorf had contacted me and said you may have some information. Is that correct?
Yes.
So true.
All right. What information do you have?
About a year and a half, 2 years ago, when I first got out on house arrest, I got out on Friday, and Benfield approached me when he was hooking up my home incarceration bracelet and told me that if I ever could not afford my house arrest, that he could come pick me up and we could do things that would make up for the money that I owed. And I didn't know what he meant at first because where he was a cop. And I asked him what he meant, and he told me sexual favors. And I told him, I said, no, I said, my husband can pay for it. Well, that following Monday, he was back to rearrest me. I hadn't done nothing wrong, hadn't got my house arrested. And then in July of last year, I got into trouble. And I was in jail from July till August and got out on house arrest again. And in August, when I got out on house arrest and was at my home, he was harassing me at first. He was just showing up and bringing the cops up there and stuff. Told me I wasn't allowed to move because I was staying at a relative's house and I was going to rent my own place. And at first he wasn't going to let me move or nothing. And then he started just showing up at the house. And my husband was gone one day, and I was scared because he'd already locked me up once before. And he told me that if I would get in the car with him, it was around August 1st, maybe, no, around August 15th, something like that. he said that if I get in a car with him and give him oral sex, that he wouldn't break my house arrest
August 15th of what year?
of last year, this past year. And then I've got witnesses that can say that he had been, harassing me. He showed up at my house probably a week straight every single day. Later on in August, he showed up. My husband was gone again. He parks out back. He was in a sheriff's car. He asked me told me, if I'd get in a car and have sex with him, that, he would make sure that I could stay on my house arrest. So we had sex 3 times altogether and then oral sex. The last time we had sex was in October. On October 1st, I think it was, or October 2nd, I went to go pay my house rent. My husband was there, so he didn't come that day. The following days when he came. And then we had sex that day, but a couple of days later when he'd come to do it, when he had sex again, I told him I couldn't do it. And he tried to hit me with his stick, and I didn't cut my baseball. It was malfunctioned or something, I don't know. But they recovered it, the ankle bracelet was not cut off. But then when I was in jail from October until December. He kept coming, they come and got me several times, want me to rat on people and stuff. And then he told me if I would just do what he told me to do, that he would make sure I got out in drug court. Well,
Did you hear what she said? So I'm going to stop this every so often and just kind of recap, just in case anybody misses it or didn't hear it. She said they were wanting her to rat on people, and she wouldn't do it. That's what she just said.
I was sentenced to drug court, and when I got out in drug court, as soon as I walked out of the building, because they could be on the cameras, they'll see him holler at me. When I walk out of the jailhouse, he hollers at me, and I walk out. He hollers at me, I walk up to him, he looks at me and my husband, and he says, his sister Holly over the house, or the drug court tells me, you need to run. He said, they got a hold of him. And it scared me. So I run, and I was on the run up until February 4th. But I didn't know that anybody else had made any accusations about it. I just thought he was just doing it to me. But Ned said that he had been doing it. So I guess at least one more other person. I'm not sure.
And see, these girls don't seem to really know each other. They obviously do not run in the same circle, They didn't know, allegedly, according to them, they didn't know. And I think that we heard the one last night saying she didn't know that it was happening to other women either. She thought she was the only one. And if you remember what she said last night was that the way that I took it, now this is how I perceived what she said, that she didn't think that he was doing it with other women, or she didn't want it to be, because if he was doing it to too many women, he was going to get caught, which is exactly what happened. But he would get caught, and then he wouldn't be able to help the ones that he was helping. And see, that's what you got to remember. They were taking these women. I mean, it was kind of like they had their own little playhouse down there in the courthouse with the jail being right up underneath them. And with all this new information that I've been getting, I think it allegedly implicates the jail and the drug court a whole lot more than what I initially anticipated. I'm very disappointed. I can tell you that. I'm very disappointed. We're also going to go back through a couple of the depositions, and we're going to reread a few parts that I think are really going to hit us different now versus when we first read it. Same way these audios, these interviews, they hit me different today, listening to them today versus 6 months ago when we first listened to them. All the information that we've learned through doing our own little investigation, all of this new information that we've learned puts all of this in more of a context for me.
But I was scared, because he's a cop. I didn't know I'm shaking or not. I didn't know what to do.
Did you hear? She said, I'm shaking right now. Now, I'll give this guy, well, I'm not even giving the credit to him. He's at the jail. At least this one you can hear without all this background talk and at least he does pretend like he's listening to her. But if you'll notice as we go through here, he talks to this one the exact same way that he talks to all the rest of them. You were having a relationship. Whenever you started having this relationship, so you saw you could get out of paying your fees. Like he words all of this into the context, and then he speaks it back to her, like getting her to agree with him. And you'll also hear her in this audio say, he was a cop. I never thought a cop would do this kind of stuff. Well, people didn't think any of these people would do this kind of stuff. As a lawyer, are you supposed to hit on all your clients? Are those the ones that you're supposed to sleep with? All your clients? Well, maybe not all, but I'm just wondering, is that like part of the package? When somebody comes and hires you as a defense attorney, are defense attorneys supposed to try and get their clients to send them itty shots, for lack of a better word, camouflaged word? I mean, I don't know. Is that something that's wrong? Maybe. I don't know. Call me crazy. I just think that that's kind of a conflict. Whenever you get hired on, which I've never worked in a jail, I've never worked in any form of law enforcement, but I've had a whole lot of educational training, and my educational training, one of the very first things you learn is it's a very big no-no to be an employee of a jail or some kind of a court official to be doing the naughty with an inmate. It's kind of a big no-no that I think a lot of people already know is common sense, that you don't do those kinds of things. But what do I know?
And I've got witnesses that knows for a fact that he had been to my house multiple times, for no reason.
And something else real fast. None of this would have come out if Mickey hadn't have done what he did down there at that courthouse. This case was already done, over, and swept under the rug. And it wasn't coming back out. There wasn't nobody going to do anything. I think, my opinion, I think this civil case would have been settled. Nothing would have ever came out about it. Not one word. It would have went away very quietly. And nobody's voice would have been heard. But because Mickey went down there and did what nobody ever thought he would do, he burned down the playhouse.
Did you have any other communication to him other than him just coming to your house? Did he
I've got some text messages, but my phone, they said got lost in the Letcher County jail. I don't know if you can bring it up by my phone number or how, but for some reason they said they lost my belongings.
How did you communicate with Ben when you were on house arrest?
Well, I was on the first one, which I was only out for 3 days when he arrested me, was on a regular old house call. But the other one was GPS, so I didn't have to have a phone. He just showed up at my house. But I've got multiple witnesses that see me in this call. And stuff. I don't know if they knew what we were doing, but they seen us in this call.
You didn't communicate with him through any other, like Facebook or anything like that?
I have text messages, but like I said, I don't have my phone.
So when did the sexual relationship start? In August
Yes,
15th?
yes.
And he's the one that frames it as the relationship. None of these women frame it that way. None of these women call it a relationship. Why? Why? That has to be intentional. There's no way that he went in there in all of these interviews and did them all the same way. Shame.
Now, were you on a GPS monitor then?
Yes.
So tell me how that first came about. Yeah.
Like I said, about him approaching me, a couple of years ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago, when I was getting out on house arrest, he just approached me, he just said, Jennifer, he said, if there's ever a time that you cannot afford your house arrest, he said, let me know and we can work something out. And I didn't know what he meant at first, because he's a cop. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, I can come pick you up and we can work things out together. And I said, how do you mean? He said, you do things for me, I do things for you.
And really, they weren't doing a damn thing for these women. Keeping them in jail. That's all they were doing for them. Grooming them into being the perfect little loyal side piece. And they weren't even a side piece. These women were trafficked. And I just don't know how anybody, any of the men who are running all of this, how they can justify any of it. You notice there's not been one person, not one, that has stepped out and tried to defend anything. And not just the defense of it. There hasn't been one person that has come out and even addressed any of it. That would have been the very first thing that I said. If I was appointed or elected or moved into any of that realm, that would have been, and I mean that in anywhere situation like what we've had here, that would have been the very first thing that I did, would be come out and say, we're not going to stand for this. This is not okay. We will dig into it. We will investigate it. These accusations are not okay. And remember, it goes further than accusations because Ben pled guilty. And there's a whole lot of other evidence that has not come out yet. But it will at the right time.
He said his wife worked for jail, so I was scared to say anything now because I was being incarcerated in Letcher County Jail.
Ben's wife worked at the jail. This victim was scared to say anything about her. I've been told one of the women got whooped real good down there one night because supposedly she had been with Ben. That never came out. Nobody ever got in trouble. Oh no, we're just going to give somebody a promotion. Okay.
So he told you this, and was this around August?
No, that was 2 years ago.
So he told you
And
this.
when I denied him that time, I got out on a Friday, and when I denied him that Monday, he was back to rearrest me, and I hadn't done nothing.
So he told you that 2 years ago.
Yes. And then when I got out this time, he approached me again. That's when he showed up at my house, probably about, and you'll find it, and I guess maybe the records from the police department or something. They showed up at my house at probably 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and had ambulance and everything. And I don't know why. They said that they thought we were OD'd in our cars. We were all loading groceries, literally. This sheriff's department. Mickey Stines was there. And he knows I wasn't hiring him. But he started threatening me that night, telling me if you ever have to come back to my house, then he'll take me to jail. And I had done nothing wrong. And then it started from that night. Because after that, he started coming to my house every single day. And he just told me, he said, if you make me happy, I'll make you happy.
So he's told you this 2 years ago.
Yes.
That's 2 years from August the 15th.
Yes.
About
a year and a half, 2 years. Around that time. I'm sorry, I'm a recovering drug addict, so I can't remember a lot. I know that my house burnt down about a year and a half, 2 years ago, so it was right around that time.
I'm just trying to get obviously that time frame. So we're looking a year and a half, 2 years ago, from August the 15th, he approached you, said, that if you couldn't pay for your bracelet, then there's other ways to take care of it. You didn't take him up on that, didn't say anything to him.
No.
You went through your life for that next year and a half, 2 year period. You get rearrested. You're put back on an ankle monitor. And then after that arrest, he starts coming to your house.
Yes.
He's not messaging you or
no, he just started showing
up by himself. But you said that one time
the first time he showed up, he was the sheriff's department, and Mickey Stines showed up, and 3 or 4 other cop cars, the ambulance. But I have to say, I believe that he's the one that had all that set up, because nobody would have called him. Say we were OD'd in the car. We were all loaded groceries.
What were you arrested for? Can you remember what you were arrested for that got you around that August 15th hearing period? What charge it was?
I'm wanting to say possession.
Who was it? Where was it out of?
Letcher County.
You remember who arrested you? Maybe I can.
No.
The deputy?
Whitaker, maybe. I believe his last name was Whitaker.
Yeah, a deputy or a police officer?
I believe he was like the Jenkins, no, the first time was Jenkins employee. So it would have been, Ben Stevens.
Jim Stevens is who she means.
And the guy, who are we talking about when you just briefly mentioned that was come to your house? What deputy are we talking about?
What deputy are we talking about? Are you kidding me? This man infuriates me. I don't know how they could ever send him to interview another victim of sexual abuse in the entire state. But this is my point when I say competence. He is in no way, shape, or form qualified to interview female sexual abuse or sex trafficking victims. I mean, all we have to do is listen to these interviews, and you don't have to have a master's degree to be able to identify this. Somebody without an education at all could hear this and say, man, that just don't sound right. So for all these real big, smart, powerful people, they sure ain't very bright, are they?
Don't want to get too mixed up. Yeah, that's fine.
It infuriates me.
So you get arrested for that possession around August 15th, sometime through that period.
The first time when I got arrested, that was the year and a half, 2 years ago. That was Ben Stevens arrested me that time. The second time, I believe his name was Whitaker. And it was in Whitesburg.
And that was the August one.
Yes.
That's okay. You think his name was Whitaker?
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's his name.
So worked for the sheriff's office, the trooper.
I'm thinking he worked for just the regular Whitesburg Police Department.
Whitesburg PD.
And I know Tyrone Fields was there that day.
It's okay. So you got arrested there, went to jail, you get back out on house arrest. Ben hooks you up on the monitoring system. How does that work?
Well, that day, I remember plain as day, his grandson was born that day. Because Angie, his wife, worked in the jailhouse too, was telling us, that she had a new baby, grandbaby coming. And then when I was out on house arrest, he didn't really say nothing to me in the jailhouse that day because he had to put my monitor up in the waiting room. And there was people stuff. He hooked my monitor up and he was telling me that his grandson, he had just become a grandfather that day. And he said that he would be getting in contact with me for my home placement. When I called for my home placement that following maybe week later, I couldn't get a hold of him. So I called Patty, I believe the name is, over the home incarceration, and told her she approved me. And then that very same night or the night after that, when all the cops showed up at my house, said that was supposed to be OD. That's why I believe he was the one that had been there that night, because I don't understand how he would have gotten there before the police department would have.
You didn't get arrested that night?
No. But that's the night he started harassing me, and then up until I started doing stuff for him.
So it was the day after your arrest is when he came to the house. And you think that's sometime around the 15th of August?
The 15th is when I got out. I was out of, I got arrested, I'm sorry. I was in jail in August. I'm wanting to say I got out at the end of August, the 1st of October. At least October 3rd, because that's usually when my fiance gets his check.
Now, she skipped a month there. They said August, and then they skipped September altogether and went to October. She's living a pretty rough life. She's not going to remember the dates. How hard would that be to go pull the records? Go pull the records and get the actual dates. It wouldn't be that hard.
So I had been out by at least October 3rd. I wasn't out a week, and that's when he came to my house that first night. And then the next day is when he came to my house. Maybe 2 days later, at the most, and he was acting like he was looking for a monitor bracelet. So a guy named Robbie Collins, I believe his name was, and that day after that or something like that, after the cops showed up, is when he told me that if I made him happy, he'd make me happy. And I had to give him a little stuff in his car. It was parked back, there might even be cameras because it's a church parking lot. There was a car, he parked his car back behind where my house was. It was a church parking lot. There was like grass on each side. There was a graveyard up the hill. He parked his car right there and had me get in the car.
So we go back over this. So we're talking the second time you get arrested by Whitaker.
She just started to tell him about her getting in the car with him, and what did this guy do? He completely changed the subject and went back. Oh, so let me get this straight. In every one of these interviews, he acts like he can't follow nothing that these women say.
Yes.
You said that the relationship started around August the 15th.
The
But then you
relationship.
said you didn't get out till October.
I mean, I got arrested on August 15th. That's when all it first started, when I was arrested that time.
Yeah.
And when I got out on October 3rd, that's when it started. I'm sorry.
So you got out in October.
Yes, I was arrested on August 15th, something like that.
And that's all he seems to be stuck on. I mean, I've never seen a more incompetent investigation in my life. And no, I don't work in law enforcement, but we sure watch a whole lot of trials. We sure look at a whole lot of cases. I've studied a whole lot of cases. I've never seen anything like this. And for this to be passed off as a good job, Ned Pillersdorf said this was the best investigation. Ain't that what he said? That he applauded the Attorney General's office for even taking this, for even helping with this case. You know what else Ned Pillersdorf did? He shared a big post about putting our new prosecutor up on a big old pedestal because some girl whose case was over and done with years ago was all of a sudden re-indicted or something. They pulled up new those old charges of the case that had already had an outcome and everything. And our new prosecutor did the right thing. He did the right thing. He made it go away. Is that something to give him an award for? Because he didn't go ahead and double jeopardy somebody? Are you kidding? Let's just give him a round of applause, you guys. We got a new bunch down there in that courthouse now. Oh, man.
And then so after October is when he started coming to your house.
Unbelievable.
I think that was on house just maybe a month when he tried to, like I said that last time when he asked me, I denied him, and then right after that's when he tried to stay, I tried to stay.
Okay, so you had oral sex behind the church.
Yeah, in the church parking lot behind the house. He was always in that sheriff's car.
What was the name of the church?
I'm wanting to say maybe Freeville Baptist. It's in Hillbilly, Kentucky.
Couldn't wear
Hillbilly, Kentucky. Jack Horn.
Hempfield.
Hempfield.
In
Yeah,
Hemp Hill. Yeah, it's in Neon.
Is that after you go through Whitesburg, or is that?
Yeah, you go through Whitesburg to Neon. In Neon, Kentucky, up towards Jack Horn.
That's up around where Mickey lives or lived. Mickey lives in McRoberts. You have to go to Neon, and you either go one of two ways. You can either go on to McRoberts, or you can go up Hemp Hill. And so, I don't know about how many miles, maybe 10, 15 miles away from each other, but it's around the same area.
So he starts coming to your house after you get out in October. Does he just start coming and hang out with you, or?
He just started, like I said, at first he was just harassing me. And I'm scared that he was going to lock me back up because he had done it before.
He was harassing her. She was afraid he was going to lock her back up because he had done it. He had done that to her before. Same way with all this crap, this friendship, Facebook friendship crap that the prosecutor pulled on me. How many people on probation and parole do you think contacted me afterwards, or their family members contacted me afterwards and said, please don't get mad at them. Don't think that they don't like you. They're just scared to death he's going to revoke their probation. They're scared to death that he's going to revoke their parole. They're in drug court. They're scared to death that they'll be retaliated against. This is a widespread playbook here.
And so I felt like if I didn't do what he wanted me to, that he would have me put back in jail. And when I denied him, he would try to hit me with escape, which didn't suit me because I didn't take my base for that. But I did get rearrested for it, and I sat in jail for 3 months.
And
She sat in jail for 3 months. Now, do you think that's okay? Do you think that's acceptable? By any stretch of the imagination, is that acceptable? No.
that year and a half, 2 year period that you were out from.
That's false imprisonment. I mean, how is that not kidnapping?
The first time he mentioned proposition.
There ain't no immunity with crimes.
He propositioned me twice. A year and a half, 2 years ago, and then this past August.
Okay. When did the escape? When did he get the escape warrant on?
At the end of October. Now I'm getting out 19 days because my birthday's October 19th, and he had me hit with it on October 20th.
Listen to this.
I was rearrested.
And that was 2021, October. So you got out in October, and then you got rearrested for escape
In October.
in October.
And I had just paid my house arrest that day. So why would I escape?
She just paid her house arrest that day. So why would she escape? Easy to prove this stuff.
I probably went in and out 2 weeks.
Okay. Is that what you're in jail on right now?
I'm in jail for the charges that he's supposed to be, that his sister was over for drug court, which I was charged with upstairs and downstairs, and he's the bailiff downstairs. So my charges.
She was charged downstairs and upstairs. Same charge. Who was her lawyer? Well, when you're in drug court, you're not even able to have a lawyer, are you? My friend told me that whenever you go into drug court, you sign away all your rights. Just like her having a 2-year drug court program. They kept her in drug court for 4 years. 2 years over what her time was. And I said, how can they even do that? Like, how can they do that? She said, because they kept making me start over. They kept putting me back at the beginning. Not one failed drug test. Not one. Said he didn't like her mouth. He didn't like her mouth. She got caught hanging around with somebody she wasn't supposed to be hanging around with. Put her back at the beginning. Kept her in there 4 years.
Or downstairs in district, I was charged for the same crime, and upstairs. It's the same charges.
So what's holding you in here right now?
That,
The escape?
no, the charges that his sister's supposed to.
What charges is that?
And that's Holly. That's the drug court. So Ben's sister had her arrested from the drug court program. Ah, okay. Not one thing in any of these interviews to investigate, huh? Further than the plea bargain for Ben. Not one thing? You couldn't find one thing in here? She names off a whole bunch of witnesses here in a minute that witnessed Ben coming to her house. And I'm going to skip over that. We're not going to play the names. But he had enough. He had enough.
Possession is the empty bag. There was nothing in it.
Where did they get a, how did they get a possession charge? Or did they find a bag at?
On me. I had an empty bag.
From where? But I mean, so you're out in October.
Mm-hmm.
He gets an escape warrant.
Yes.
But you're saying his sister, who is in drug court.
Yeah.
She's over drug court.
So they've sanctioned you.
I don't know what, I haven't seen a judge or nothing since I've been
Oh, really?
before. But I haven't spoke to nobody. They don't tell me nothing.
Don't tell her nothing. Interesting.
They didn't tell you what you were charged with, or
I took contempt of court,
contempt of court?
slander and libel or something like that. I don't even know what that really means.
Slander and libel. Well, now I know what that means, but I've never heard it in this context. How many of you guys have heard it in this context? He's getting ready to say it. So listen to what he says and tell me what you think. Because it might be, and I'm just not aware of it.
Typically means you violated some kind of condition of the court system, is usually what it is.
So slander and libel means that you violated some condition of the court system. That's what that usually means. That's exactly what he said.
I mean, I understand. I was scared though. You know, he told me they had a holder on me. I don't understand what they did. Let me out. They had a holder on me.
Okay, so you get out on 1st October, and you get rearrested at the end of October,
October 20th.
and then you get out again.
Yes, in December.
So you got out again.
That was for charge. That's when they gave me drug court. And then, if you can rewind the cameras back that far, you can see me walking out of the jailhouse, and him hollering at me walking up to him, and him telling me, you can see him talking to me.
When she says this, every time this is the second time she's mentioned it in this recording. She says, all you have to do is roll back the cameras and you'll see I'm telling you the truth. That's how most of us think, you know. All you have to do is look and you'll see that I'm telling the truth. How many people go look? They don't. I guarantee you nobody pulled that footage. Nobody looked at that. Nobody cared.
That's when he told me that his sister was in the jail up in the courthouse right then, and that I better run because they had a holder on.
Okay, so
And it started, you know what I'm saying? So I know.
so we're in October now, and you said that you start having sexual relationships with him in October.
Yeah.
Here he goes again. You start having sexual relations with him. Really, dude? Really?
Yes, I had oral sex with him and sex 3 times in October. Within like a 2-week period.
If I was ever a defense attorney, I would use this anytime they tried to use this investigator. If there was any way that I could, which I don't know. I'm not trained as a lawyer. You know, I'm no lawyer. But if there was any way that I could use something like this against any of these people and their credibility and their competence, how are you supposed to have faith or trust in any investigation when we see that this is the way that they're conducted? Because I wouldn't trust nothing that none of them did after this investigation.
We had sexual intercourse 3 times with him. And oral sex.
Yeah. The first time was oral sex.
So just first time was oral.
Yes.
Never
And
thought
the
about
three
that.
were just intercourse.
Yes.
And where did You said one of those times took place at the church parking lot?
Yes, well, no, all of them took place in the church parking lot.
All of them?
Yeah, he was parked behind us.
Okay. So that time frame, you all have a sexual relationship, you get rearrested, you get back out in December.
Yeah, and,
Now, what do you get arrested for in October?
that was for the
Escape?
possession check. Well, in August or October when, I went back to jail, that was because he said that I had escaped, which I hadn't.
So you got out first of October, went back in at the end of October,
Yes.
sometime at the end.
It was on the 20th, the day after my birthday, when they rearrested.
That's all he cares about are the dates that she was arrested and the date that she got out. He keeps going back to that. Why? Why aren't you asking more detailed questions about the abuse? I just don't get it.
Because the day, like, 2 days before that, I did.
You're having a relationship with him, and then all of a sudden he just pops an escape warrant on you.
Yes.
You go in and you stay till December. Then in December you get out again.
Yes. He thought that we were still gonna have a relationship. Like I said, he told me to run, that I haven't contacted him any at all.
Now, all she did, which I'm no specialist or anything, but in my opinion, all she did was speak back to him. And that's why I think he's done that, to get her to repeat it back to him. He has laid the context. He laid that foundation. And so now she's just referring back to what he called it. I'm telling you, it doesn't take a rocket scientist for any of us to see this stuff. So they really think we're pretty dumb here in Eastern Kentucky.
He was a cop, I didn't think that cops would do that.
There it is.
But I was scared.
So now you've got out in December.
And I,
Do you see that? He just skips right over it. She says, I was scared. He was a cop. I didn't think cops would do that. Oh, so you get out in December, September, whatever. This man, I don't think I've ever been so disappointed in somebody's professional standard in my life.
I got until February 4th. I got like a week before Christmas.
And when you got out in December, you saw him outside of the courthouse.
This, inside of the courthouse.
Do you remember what day or anything?
It was on a Friday.
You don't know what day, physical day.
I'm wanting to say it was like a week before Christmas, maybe like 17th.
Were you on house arrest at that
No.
time? So he saw you outside, told you to stay hid.
They had a holder on me.
But you just got out.
Yeah, that's what scared me.
How many days were you out between you got out in December to this?
It's February 4th.
Till he told you that, or was that the same day?
He told me that his sister was in the courthouse right then. He said, my sister's over your drug court. Her name is Holly. He said, they have a holder on you. You need to go. But I didn't realize that drug court worked with you, like if it was child support or something, and would have the holders released. I didn't know that. He didn't tell me that.
So sister had a holder to hold you
Yes,
and to run.
yes.
So you did run.
Yes, I did. I was scared
He set her up.
until February 4th. I don't have no new charges. It was just picking me up on that one.
February 4th, and then you were arrested.
Yes.
And why wasn't there more people named in that civil suit? There should have been more people named in that civil suit, which I'm no lawyer, remember. But I just don't see how they could throw Mickey under the bus and the rest of them not go with him.
So, August the 15th, you're arrested somewhere around there.
Yes, somewhere around.
You get out in October.
Yes.
How many times he gonna
You
say
have a
this?
relationship with him until end of October. Does he arrest you on the escape or somebody else?
We've been sitting here listening to this for 31 minutes, and he has said the exact same thing, what, 5 or 6 times? And it's like that's the only thing he's getting from what she's saying, because he hasn't said anything about what anybody else has done. The only thing that he said is you start having a relationship with him. I mean, listen, the judge was the golden boy. He piloted their rehab program for the state. He was the golden child. He was never going to get in trouble for anything. I think it was very, very telling in the first arraignment, Mickey's lawyer getting up and asking that detective, "Are you aware of any reports that Mickey tried to make on the judge? Have you ever, or something to that effect?" And if I remember correctly, the detective said no. Anything that would have been reported wouldn't have went anywhere. It wouldn't have went anywhere. Nowhere. Where was anybody supposed to go? We still have a ton of victims out here of this particular system in one way or another, in one form or another. There's been victims in their wake, but everybody's too scared. These poor women here, where were they supposed to go? They thought they were going to get help. And if I'm correct, I think this is Jennifer Hill. I think this is Jennifer Hill. And she's no longer with us anymore. They said she OD'd. How do any of us know that for sure? We don't. I don't believe nothing that's come from any of them.
He had the police department, the sheriff's department come get me, and then he met me at the jail.
Arrested on escape. Then you stay there till December.
Yes.
17th maybe.
Yes.
You get out and then he says, "Gonna run."
Yes.
So when you get out in October, that's when you enter drug court, right?
In December. In December, when I got out in December, he had it fixed to where I would get drug court to talk to the judge.
So why would his sister, the day you get out enrolled in drug court, automatically put a holder on you
I don't
when
know.
you just got out of jail that day?
I know. That's what scared me.
So you didn't start.
I didn't start drug court because of that.
You didn't start drug court on the 17th.
He set
So
her
you
up.
started drug court on the 17th, the day you got out.
Yes. But I didn't go
Well,
because
it's the same day that he told you they had a holder on.
yes. See, the woman, his wife, Angie, was like the big boss at the jail, and she was quitting her job. She gave her position to somebody else. And I guess they just didn't run me through the NCIS or whatever it's called. She just released me.
Did anybody ever go with you all or see you all, go to church or anything?
Yes, I've got witnesses that seen him at my house.
Okay. I'm going to fast forward this a little bit because here's where she gives the names, and we don't want. And she names off like 5 or 6 people that saw this. And he asks her, will any of these people talk to me? And she says, yes, of course they will. They all saw it. They all knew what was going on.
What made you decide to tell your story?
Because he's doing me wrong. I felt like he should be in trouble because he shouldn't be putting me through this and him sitting over at his office behind his desk. And there's no telling how many other people he's done this to. You know, I almost lost my husband over it.
How did you know to get in touch with Ned Hillsdorf?
I called him to ask him about taking my case further, or, you know, just a lawyer. My husband, he's staying in Martin right now in Floyd County, and he just looked up a lawyer, and he was one of the first ones he found.
If you Google lawyers, you know, away from here, Ned is a very, very popular attorney. I hired him myself. When I needed a lawyer out of this bunch, I had to go find somebody away from this bunch to represent me. He's expensive, but he's one of the best well-known names, and he's got a really good track record in court. Why wouldn't they go to Ned? But he accuses her here, or he questions her. He doesn't accuse her, but he asks her, oh, you didn't see this on the news? Like she's just trying to jump on the bandwagon. That's what he had.
And you all just told Ned about this?
Yes. Because my husband said that he was railroading me.
Yeah.
Did you all hear about in the news and all that sort of stuff?
No,
Did your husband?
I don't think so. Why is it on the news?
There was some stuff.
Oh, no. I'm not gonna lie.
They're usually in jail. She's been in jail this whole time. Ugh.
I'm a drug addict. I don't even pay attention to the news.
You think your husband may have?
No, I don't think so. He's a drug addict too, I'm not gonna lie.
No, that's fine.
That's fine.
Because you're a drug addict don't mean that makes you not a human.
It really makes him mad that being done to me. I'm about to start crying. It makes me sick to his stomach. Because I love my husband. I wouldn't have done that to him. I just didn't want to go back to jail.
So she starts crying and said that when she talks about it, it makes her sick to her stomach because she loved her husband. She wouldn't have done this any other reason. She just didn't want to go back to jail. And this man got 6 months. And I come to find out, you know how we were told, or I was told, that he was made a trustee and he was in the trustee. He wasn't even in the trustee. From what I found out today, he wasn't even in the trustee area. They put him in one of the drunk tanks so he could have a room all to himself. Got him a great big TV, had him a nice bed in there.
So let's go back to the October time frame here. So he's coming.
Now, she just said all that. She just started crying. And you see what he did. Oh, let's go back to this date again. I mean, unless this was completely intentional. If this was completely intentional, oh, honey, he did his job. He did his job. If it was intentional, he did a great job.
To your house, what's he saying when he's coming to your house all these times?
Like the first night when I told you when the cops came, he was being really hateful to me. I was a high nothing. I was straight because I was in house arrest. My granddaughter was just born. And he said that I was high and that he would take me to get me a drug screen, and I told him to take me. And he said I could have passed the drug screen. And then he was like, no, he said, if I have to come out here again, I'm taking you to fucking jail. And then like a day or two later is when it came to my house and had me get the car and get it all set.
And what do you mean by he made you? Did he physically?
He was going to put me back in jail.
Is it what he told you?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. I had more choice, but I hadn't done it. I went back to jail.
And the rest of them are all trying to keep it just as quiet as they possibly can.
He told you that you didn't have oral sex, or
If I didn't make him happy,
Mhm.
that I wouldn't be happy. He said that he would have me put back in jail, and he had done it once before, and I knew he could do it again.
There wasn't nobody telling him no.
I got out on Friday, and then on Monday he was back there to rearrest me. And my husband had just paid $100 for that house arrest, and I'm saying he had the money for that. And I hadn't done nothing wrong when he rearrested me because I got him the first time. And I was afraid if I didn't do it, that he would put me back in jail, which I ended up back in jail anyway because of it.
Now, what if that would have been his daughter? All this talk about children, protecting children. This woman is somebody's child. I don't care how old she is. She was vulnerable. She was in a very, very bad situation. Very bad situation. And all they were doing was praying. They weren't even just taking advantage of these women. They were preying on these women. I got a little nugget today also. There were times where certain individuals, and I'll just keep this to who it was to myself for now. Certain individuals would go down into the jailer's office where they had the cameras set up and sit in there and watch the female cell. Just watch them. See which ones were candidates.
So when you're saying that you denied him,
I told him no the first time.
and that was when you were arrested in August.
No, this was the year and a half or 2 years ago, the first time. I got out on a Friday. That very same Monday he came. Very next Monday he came. I was only out.
Do you remember was an escape charge then, or
no? I had done nothing wrong.
what do you arrest you for?
He just come back, tell me I needed to get my box. He put me in and there was another cop with him. He put me in the back of the cruiser and he took me back to jail. For no reason, I hadn't done nothing wrong.
And they don't have to give no justification. They don't have to tell you squat. He can say, get in the car. They don't have to tell you nothing. How is that anything but kidnapping? And they're doing it on a systemic basis.
I just had denied him. I told him no. And
For telling him no.
And that was at the.
And I've got proof of that too. I've got witnesses that knows that he done that.
And that was a year and a half.
Yeah, before all this happened. So I knew if I didn't do it this time, he would definitely have to put back in jail again. I felt like I had no other choice.
But you don't remember what charge that was when they came and got you?
I believe that was my first possession charge.
Did you have something on you?
No, an empty bag. That's all it was an empty bag. But they charged me with possession.
They just used anything that they could. anything that they could. I had one guy tell me that he had just left court. He had just walked out of the court and said that Ben walked out the door, grabbed him by the arm and said, "Hey, man, you look like you're high on Suboxone," and took him right back down into the jail and arrested him.
And right now,
But I
you
thought,
can check the courthouse. Yeah,
I thought that what you're in here right now getting held for is the empty bag
that's what it is.
from a year and a half ago.
Somehow, I don't know what's going on. I've got the same charge.
I'm kind of confused.
I got the same.
How is she supposed to know? Go pull the freaking records, you dummy.
So we gotta,
charges right now, upstairs and downstairs, and I've got drug court, upstairs court. And downstairs, I've also got charges on it, and that I've got sentenced to for probation for the same charges. I thought that was double jeopardy. I'm getting charged for the same crime twice.
so let's go back a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Nobody helped these girls get out of
You're
jail either.
arrested
On a possession charge.
on a possession,
Yes,
and he makes his proposition to you, and you don't take him up on it.
no,
You get out of jail.
yes. And I was out from that Friday, I was out Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, he was there to re-arrest me. He put me back in jail. And then I got in trouble again. All I had was the pipe on that time. I didn't have no kind of dope on me. All they had me for was an empty bag and a pipe. And now I'm here because they got me for possession.
So what
I guess because of COVID, it took so long for the court. I'm not really sure.
we're a year and a half, 2 years ago, you get arrested, he makes a proposition to you, you deny it.
And he re-arrested me.
2 or 3 days later, you get rearrested for you're saying a baggie that was
No,
nothing
I
in it.
didn't. I was arrested at that, before I got on house arrest. I was arrested for a baby. That was when I got the house arrest.
Okay, but what did he arrest you for the 2 or 3 days later?
Nothing. I haven't done nothing wrong. He come to my house.
But what was the charge? I'm not saying you did anything wrong, but they have to charge you with something. They can't
He
just
charged me.
come get you.
He did. I promise you.
They can do whatever they want to here, buddy. You better believe it.
If you look at it, I had no other charges. He come and he picked me back up, and he took me back to jail.
Mickey burned down their playhouse, y'all. I ain't saying he's innocent. But man,
I had no other charges.
And you're saying that was around October, you can remember any date?
That was around, let's see. I'm wanting to say it was in the summertime. Because I was living
all he has to do is go pull the freaking records. Why are you trying to rely on her memory for this stuff? And she probably wouldn't know. Whatever they told her is probably not even what they did. She ain't going to be able to pull her records from there, but he can. He can go see. He should have pulled all that before he ever even went to interview her. He should have already had that information.
It was in the summertime. It was around maybe August that year. July, August, something like that.
When that you got,
Then I got arrested the very first time.
when he first
Yes,
made the proposition to
Yes.
you. So you're saying it was probably around,
around July, August. The very first time. And I had done nothing wrong. I was at my camper. I was asleep when he pulled up.
so you got, and just I apologize, there's a lot of dates, a lot of charges we got to sort through here,
Yes.
so I can get this right.
Oh, really? There's a lot. Oh, so I can get this right. Yeah, buddy, you really did. Remember, this case was dropped. This case against him for her was dropped because she was dead before he took his plea. So he only got charged. No, he only got charged over one of the women. Anything that was going on, the only thing that's still going on her behalf is her estate. Whoever her beneficiary or next of kin or whatever, whoever her it would be over her estate, which would be her family. The civil suit is still going on her behalf. But Ben never had to pay one day for what he did to her. He never paid one day for what he did to this woman. And she died.
So around August or July, a year and a half, 2 years ago, you were arrested.
Yes.
He propositioned you at that moment in time,
Yes.
around that August or July.
Yes.
You didn't take him up. You got out of jail.
Yes. I was out.
Then you got rearrested in October.
Yes.
And
This past year.
okay, but
Okay, a year and a half to 2 years ago was around August or July.
then you stay in jail till how long?
I'm going to say at least 2 months.
So that would put you around that October time frame.
Yeah.
And then you get out.
Let me see. I got out. It was only something to do with summer, so I was arrested around July or August. Middle of July, beginning of August. I got out around September because it was still pretty hot out. I was out from a Monday till Friday, or from a Friday till Monday. And then that Monday, he showed up at my camper, knocked on my door, and told me to get my box. And so they took me back to jail. He had another cop with him.
Okay,
I
so
had not done nothing wrong.
it's the September charge is when he come got the box and you.
That was the very first time. Because that's how
So you got arrested in August or July, got out in September, and you went back in September.
You're talking about 2 years later?
Yeah,
Yes.
then rearrested in September. And you think that was because you didn't take him up on it
Yes.
at that time? And you don't know what charge that was, or you're saying there wasn't a charge? You just,
When he rearrested me, no.
they didn't give you a copy of the citation?
No. I didn't get a citation because I didn't have no other new charges. Letcher County was working there, and he said, does she have new charges? He said, no.
Do you remember what deputy was with him then?
I'm wanting to say his last name is Holbrook.
Holbrook. He's Whitesburg City.
So then they fast forward a year and a half after that deal. That's when you get arrested in around August the 15th.
Yes.
And then you get out in October, and then you're back on house arrest. And he starts coming to your house
Yes.
saying, if you don't
Yes.
have sexual favors with me,
Yes.
you're gonna go back to jail. So you felt you had to have sex with him.
And he meant it.
During the sexual times, did he physically restrain you, or was it a consensual other than you thought you didn't want to go back to jail? You see what I'm saying?
He didn't make me, but I felt.
It cannot be consensual. When there is someone who is in authority, I don't care if it's house arrest, I don't care if it's jail, I don't care if it's a student. If you are in a position of authority, especially somebody in your custody, you're not allowed to have any kind of sexual contact with them of any kind. This isn't like two employees like Ben and Angie when Angie was married to somebody else and they were sneaking upstairs to the bathroom on the first floor of the courthouse. That was bad enough. They should have both been gone right then. When they found out he was drinking on the job down there at the jail. No. No, no, no. When your uncle owns a big coal mine and you got a whole big bunch of money and your family's really connected in the town or in the county, no. No. You get to participate in this kind of a ring.
But he made me.
But he didn't physically
No.
make you.
No.
You were a willing participant in it by the,
You were a willing participant. She just told you she was not. She did not want to do it. But she was forced, if not, go back to jail. This is the problem. This is exactly what we see in this county, and we obviously have it at the state level.
the physical standards, but by mentally you thought that you had it. Okay, that's,
Yes.
And he just got her to answer the way that he wanted her to answer, even though this entire interview, she said just the opposite. I mean, you know, he didn't like rip her clothes and all that. That's what he's trying to say. Because he didn't do that, it's not the R word. I beg to differ, buddy. Go look at any policy. Go look in any book that they teach us in school for law enforcement. I guarantee you it's in there.
trying to get, did he hold you, physically hold you down?
The one we listened to last night said she didn't know if he was trying to kiss her or eat her. He was so forceful. So what? That just doesn't matter?
Did he ever physically hurt you?
Not physically, mentally, yes. I about lost my family over it.
And then from that 1st of October, you got rearrested at the end of October, and that was for escape.
Yes, but which he didn't hit me this day because the ankle bracelet was not cut.
But that's what the charge was, right?
Yes. To rearrest me for,
Sure.
yes.
Why do you think all of a sudden he just turned on you after y'all were having a
Because
situation?
I denied him that last time. When he comes, I went and paid my ankle bracelet fee that day. It was on a Thursday. And he said, "Can I come to your house?" I said, "No, my husband's home." And then the next day, there might be a message on my phone because the next day is when he was saying that he was mad at me for telling him no. And I told him, I said, "My husband's home." And then, like 3 days later, when, or let's see, yeah, 3 days later when he tried to say escape. Pretty much because I told him no.
So,
Okay. So
at the end of October, he's wanting to have sex with you again. You tell him no because your husband's there. Next thing you know, you're getting a warrant.
Yeah.
You've got an escape charge.
Yeah.
And now you're staying there till December. Then you get out for drug court the same day.
He had this stuff.
He did that, and then
told her to run. He set her up. He set it up, and you don't know. You don't know if he set her up with drug court or not. How can you believe anything that he said?
and he sees you outside the courtroom and tells you to stay, run. They've got a holder on you, so you stay hid till now.
Yes.
Was there a holder on you?
Apparently there was from McGoffin County. It was a child support host. But I didn't know that his sister could have had it fixed to where I wouldn't have been in trouble. She could have let me stay in drug court and then actually helped me with my child support. I didn't know that.
So it was a McGoffin County warrant that
Yes.
The holder that he was talking about was a McGoffin
Yeah.
County warrant.
And there's still one, so you can even check that out.
Child support. I heard that today too. They used a lot of women that were in there over child support.
And then that's what's got you in here now.
No, what's it name?
For what? What?
For the contempt of court. And I haven't seen a judge or nothing. I haven't talked to nobody.
You don't know what you contempted?
No. I guess because where I was.
All right, so we have no idea where the phone's at,
No, it was at the Letcher County Jail.
but it's lost or something.
Yeah, that's,
Do you know how many people went into the Letcher County Jail with their phones, but when they were released, couldn't find their phone? That's a perfect way to get rid of evidence, isn't it? Evidence that implicates them. We just steal their phone and throw it away.
what they're saying. And his wife was there, so I don't know. It was weird that his wife quit right before I got out. I think that she knew something was about ready to go down.
What was the phone
It was,
number? Is that AT&T?
and you can also check with my husband, my fiance's number, because he messaged both phones.
Search warrants.
What was the other number? That's AT&T too.
Why wasn't there search warrants? We didn't see any of those kind of phone records in the
As far as
discovery.
messages being on, like if I could find these phones, there's not gonna be any messages on the phone physically because you've erased them.
Yes, but I mean, if you can get in like to the hard drive or something, you can.
Of course, we gotta find the phones. Does your husband have that phone?
No, but he's had that same phone number for years.
But the phone, we don't know where either of those phones are. Both of those phones are gone.
Yeah, that last.
Same phone numbers, but the phone, actual physical phones, we're not gonna
That
find.
actual physical phone is at that job.
That's what you think, but they're telling you it's not.
Yeah,
How about where's it at?
my husband has it, my fiance does.
That's the actual phone that you texted?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
What's your husband's name? Which phone did he message more? What do you think might be on?
I'm not really sure. I know if he messaged it, I would have erased it.
Was there any sexual discussions? Did he say anything sexual over these phones, or was it
Yeah,
just
I'm not
conversation?
sure.
Nothing on Facebook.
No.
Did anybody ever hear any conversations that you all had, like on the phone, sexual nature, or?
Only one time, but someone walked in on us. It was at the courthouse. I was there paying my house rent thing, and at the front of the courthouse, there was 7 doors you can walk in, and there's another 7 doors. We were standing there talking. I was trying to record it with my phone for me to have proof that he had done something. And when I walked in, because I was doing school online too, I had my tablet with me and my phone. And when I walked in, he took them both from me. There's cameras there, you might be able to rewind and see that. And he turns them both off. And we're standing here talking, and he's telling me that he's going to be at the next day. And then a woman and a man walked in to pay theirs, and then he's just quit talking. And that's the phone that was good.
Do you know anybody of the name? When's the last
Just
time?
in jail.
When's the last time you talked to her?
Probably a year, maybe. I'm not friends with her. I've been in jail with her.
Many of these victims were in jail together because that was the pool that they were all picking from. Think about this. They had their own, I mean, I don't even know what else to call it but a playhouse. I mean, they were running their own screwed up brothel. Ned named it right. And how many women have reached out to me telling me about who all has asked them for nudie pics, or they sent them nudie pics, or if they weren't nude, they were very inappropriate with clothes on, if you get my drift. It's a very, very sexual environment down there. And I guess where I've been kind of in my own little world since my kids were born, I didn't date. I haven't dated or anything. So I guess I stupidly got married several years ago. But it's been a really long time since I started, or since I was like going out with somebody, and I just say it. I just say it. It's not. Sometimes if you move too fast, or if you let them move too fast, they just disappear and you never hear from them again. I forgot what that felt like. I just forgot. I forgot all about that stuff, you know, just because I don't live that lifestyle no more. That's what a lot of the playboy, it's a playboy, you know, the playboy who's, and I'm just meaning in general, the playboy who's got the money and he's got the nice car and he's got the good job and he's at the bar every weekend, but he's taking a different girl home every night. You know, maybe start dating, so might start flirting with a girl, and then 2 weeks later, you end up going all the way, and then the next thing you know, they've just disappeared. They won't return you phone calls. They won't have nothing to do with you. Well, I think we've got a lot of those around here. Or at least that's the word anyway. And I ain't talking about Ben. That's right.
And you don't know how long you're going to be here.
Why wouldn't he help her to get out?
When you get out, it's going to be your number.
Yeah, it's through the, it's through AT&T, but the government pays it. So I reach me. Well, if you want to leave your card, I can get the card.
Now, you're saying he's staying in Floyd County. Is that where you're going to go when you get out, or are you going to?
I'm going to Portland.
What's the address in Floyd County? You're like,
At my stepson. They're getting ready to move, so I'm not really sure the address could be until after they move, so they start renting.
I'll tell them, I'm going to give you my business card.
Okay.
When you get out, if you do, just touch base with me.
Okay.
That way I know where you're at, because I may have some more questions. I may have some more, I'm trying to think of anything. And I'll explain this to you, Jennifer. You know, obviously when you know, we take these accusations pretty serious,
Yeah.
but
We
we
can
also
tell.
have to back it up with evidence.
Yeah.
You know, if we had messages, if we had something, you know, it would obviously be greatly beneficial.
Why can't they do a search warrant and get her phone records?
To us.
He's got names of
I
witnesses.
don't know what I'll be able to come up with or what I'll be able to do to help you. Maybe nothing.
As long as he gets in trouble, that's all that matters.
Well,
He shouldn't be allowed to do that to people.
you know, obviously I can't just go and charge him with a crime just based upon what you say.
Yeah.
I've got to have something else. But what I can tell you is I will do my very best to try to find something else that backs all this up. That's all I can do, you know.
Yeah. As long as he gets in trouble, that's all I'm really worried about. Because he shouldn't be allowed to do that to people. Especially if he's done it to other people.
What do you think should happen to him?
I think he should go to jail. Because he's sitting there threatening people with the jail. And I think that's where he should be. If he's really doing that to as many people he's doing it to. If there's 3 people already, that means he shouldn't be doing it at all. And I think he should be in jail.
How do you know there's 3 people?
Did you mention 2? And then me.
Yeah. She ain't plumb stupid, dude.
Yeah, but I never said that. I just asked if you knew those people.
Not stupid.
But like I said, on your side, you know, we've got to find
I understand.
some corroborating information, and that's what I'm sitting there trying to go through my head of everything I could think of right now. That's, you know, we know the church, you know, videos don't release. You know, videos only last certain good systems, maybe only a couple of months,
Yeah,
and then they rewrite. So, you know, that's been a while.
yeah,
You know, you're talking October when, you know, of 2021.
yeah,
Chances of video being there is probably slim to none.
yeah.
Now, the rest of this interview is him giving all the excuses of why he won't be able to help her. He hasn't even looked for any corroborating evidence yet. He has not even looked. He's not even contacted the first witness that she gave him. And he's already trying to let her know, don't be disappointed. How disappointed do you think she was? I can't even imagine. I cannot even imagine what shame and guilt this poor woman went through. Like they were the ones who did this. Like they were the ones who got him in trouble.
I'd really more like none. So, I'm going to do my very best. You know how, like these people that you told me where I could find them at.
Your very best ain't good enough, dude.
Paula Campbell is in the home.
Do you think, so you think she lives,
Yes, that's the address I would say.
so she lives at your house?
Yes,
How about Johnny and Tony and George,
Johnny lives at 3,
your husband, and saying, I gotta get these numbers for me?
I can get them for you.
And then you can have your husband, you can pass that, my cell's on here.
Okay,
Pass that number to him, just, or you can tell him to give him to Ned and have Ned call me.
okay,
Either way is fine with me.
okay,
But if you can get me these numbers, I'll reach out and see if we can't start talking to people.
okay,
I still don't know what we can do. A lot of this stuff, information will go to a prosecutor. She'll look at everything and decide what we can and can't use. I'll do my very best to try to back your story up.
okay.
My very
I
best.
appreciate it.
Because, you know,
Your best is shit.
we don't appreciate stuff like that happening,
Yeah.
and it shouldn't happen to you. And if we can do something to stop this from happening, then that's what we need to do.
Yeah, you guys needed to do something before. Now, we're several years later, and we've got a dead judge and a sheriff in the pokey.
That's what I'll do.
Okay.
Like I said, no guarantees.
Well, yeah, I understand that.
You probably know the law just as good as I do.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm just glad they ain't gonna be able to do it to nobody else.
well, I don't know what will happen to him. It's not my decision. And like I said, you know, I'm here on your charge, not anybody else's. And if I can prove that he's done this to you, you can guarantee that we'll try to do our best to do something about it.
If I can prove that he did this to you, then we're going to try our best to do something about it. Do they even hear the words that are coming out of their mouth? Because I don't think they do. If you could prove that he did this, you damn sure better be doing something about it. Why would you say you're going to try your best? Y'all didn't try very hard. Nobody tried very hard on these girls' behalf. They were the brave ones. These women here were brave. They're the heroes.
You know, I'll, and obviously, you know, I don't know if I can get some records. I'll have to talk to our cyber guys to see if they think if we can subpoena your phone records, if it'll, I don't think they show the actual messages. I'm not for sure, but I'll double check that.
Yeah, they do. Oh, yeah, they
obviously
do.
The camera idea, it's a great idea. God only knows we wish we had everything on camera.
Why in God's name would he have just said that? How many trials do we watch on a daily basis almost that bring the text messages in? Why would he say that? This is just another example of the kind of lies that they tell people. How many times have they told me lies? And I knew it was a bold-faced lie, and I call them out on it. I don't just turn and say, okay, thanks. Sorry, I guess there's nothing you can do then. And turn around and bop right out the door. No, I always get myself in
I
trouble.
wish you could have videotaped it. Wish you could have recorded something.
Well, that's what I was trying to do. See, that's what I'm saying, my phone.
If we had something like that, well, we'd be a smoking gun.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, all we have right now is maybe some witnesses that saw you go back to that, and that we might be able to put some more stuff together.
That's circumstantial, dude. You get enough circumstantial evidence, it's just as good as direct.
And that may be enough.
Okay.
But I'll give you my word that I'll do my best to try to fix this for you.
Okay.
You know, to try to see what's out there. No guarantees. So don't, nothing. If, year down the road, if he's not charged in your behalf, don't be mad at me.
I won't be.
Because there was just nothing we could do.
Okay.
But I will guarantee you I will do my best to try to find out what happened for you.
Thank you.
Try to find out what happened for you. He was so discombobulated that he kept spewing out, sorry, y'all, poop. I mean, this guy makes me want to spit nails.
And that's really, that's about all I can do.
Okay. I really appreciate it.
About all I can do.
I take your word as it is, and just because you're a drug addict and in that position, you have no right to be treated like that. And I'll do my best to see that it doesn't happen. Okay?
Very nice.
You're very welcome. And like I said, get up with your husband and get me those numbers as quick as you can.
Okay.
That way,
Can I contact you over the weekend?
you can try. Sometimes I don't have my phone. You can leave a message.
Okay.
But just as quick as he can get them, get those to me, and we'll go from there.
Thank you very much.
Very well. Thank you all so much.
He just left her there. Don't matter. Okay, I'll just go ahead and end it. The only thing that they do that he says after that is just end the recording. And he gives the day and time, I guess. Let's see. I wonder let me see if he does. She said she was arrested on the 4th. I don't know if he'll give the date at the end, though. I'll go back to the beginning if I have to.
That will be the end of the recording.
Oh. Yeah, he don't say nothing but that.
Date is February 25th.
February 25th. And she had been there since the 4th. Hadn't seen a judge and didn't even know, hadn't talked to nobody. So she had been there for what, 21 days? 3 weeks? 1 hour in jail is too long for somebody who doesn't need to be there, who's innocent. Or, I ain't saying those girls are innocent, but they sure didn't deserve what they got. And being a rug addict ain't got a dang thing to do with it. I don't know why he thought that was necessary to say to her there at the end, just because you're a rug addict. Well, honey, I've been clean 15 years, and that bunch want to start going around town now hollering I'm a rug addict. That old girl sent me that message last week or whenever it was. Went on about me being a rug addict. If I need money so bad, why didn't I just ask her? She'd give me the money and give me the rope-a-dope, and then pray I don't wake up the next morning. Yeah, honey, you put your little pretty dress on. I bet you was at church yesterday too, wasn't you? Or 2 days ago on Sunday. Go to church every Sunday. You're such a good Christian. And then we'll say that to me. Okay. Okay. These people just don't make no sense. They think they've got such a bad opinion of people who have been addicted. And it don't matter. Think about it. Before these programs started, there wasn't a jail in the state of Kentucky that would allow mat treatment. That's what I did my master's thesis on. I was all studying everything, reading all kinds of case studies, and just, you wouldn't believe the amount of information that I read about it all and learned, It just blows me away how they go. Oh, Breeding and them down there, the HEAL organization. They were so against Suboxone. They were so against mat treatment. They weren't touching it. Until they changed the rule on the money. You couldn't get none of that federal money unless you provided mat. So then they all of a sudden changed their plan, and they would incorporate mat. And then now, it's been so successful for so many of us that now that's what all the funding is for. But they want that money. They want all that money. They want all that funding coming to all these programs. I don't think they get paid per head in those kinds of programs, like the drug court program and stuff like that. I don't think they get paid per head. I think it's just their program. They get so much money funded, to them every year. I've always said from the very beginning of all this that I thought money was the motivating factor, and that the SMEX was just a side product that they get to have. I think it's just all of it. I think it's all of it combined. So many of them are so far in debt that their eyeballs are afloating. So I don't think they've got a whole big bunch of money. Some of them do. But I think some of these are just, I think it's the smacks. I think it's the power. I think it's the control. I think it's the position. It's fun to be one of the cool kids. It's fun to be accepted into their cool group. Yeah. Until you're so far in that you're just as guilty as they are. I think that's what happened to Mickey. I think Mickey was, but I don't know. I've heard several different back and forth. But obviously, if this was all going on, he knew about it. Oh, yeah. He knew about it. Had to have. There's just no way that he didn't. But could you imagine him trying to stop it? Could you imagine how much heat he started taking when he was trying to prosecute Edison Banks's little play toy? I bet he really took a lot of heat when he was trying to get that done. If he was trying to change anything, or if he was trying to stop anything, or if he just had so much information and everybody knew it, and they were just terrified he was going to break and talk. Let me ask you a question. Why would somebody who's an attorney, a lawyer, a licensed attorney, a practicing attorney, run for a judge executive job? That's over the county's money. That's not a lawyer. That's not an attorney's position. Why would you run for that? Unless it was could it be a bigger plan to be in a position to be able to appoint a new sheriff? Or could it be to control all that money that comes into this county? There was millions and millions and millions of dollars donated to this area over the flood a few years ago. There was a whole lot of money that was received. I think it was a grant for but I'm not exactly sure where the money came from. But there was a whole lot of money that was obtained for an animal shelter here in Letcher County. And from what I understand, if I'm not mistaken, they've had the money a couple different times to put an animal shelter, a much needed animal shelter here in Letcher County. And we've got all the rescuers. We've got all the rescuers here that we would need for a shelter. And after they promised and promised and promised, this is what we're doing, for some reason, somehow, that money just got repurposed. Don't know where it went. I have no idea. I don't know what they did with that money. But I know we never did get an animal shelter after certain people worked very, very, very hard to secure that money. Nope, just don't need it. It's cheaper just to keep taking them to Hazard. Okay. Christy, quit saying relationship. Hit that like button for us, y'all, if you ain't hit it yet. It sure does help the show. Danny S. If you was a victim, who would you go to for help? Butler won't talk to you. Sheriff was Mickey's right hand. Kraft kept it to himself. Jamie put sign on door saying he will not hear complaints from citizens. Not one person has came out and addressed anything. Not one person. They just want to change the narrative of everything. Yes, but she is going to have plenty of people come to her hearing and represent her. That poor girl. You just think what she went through after telling her story, after thinking something was finally going to be done. She didn't even live to see that man spend his 6 months in jail. She never got her justice. Never. She went to her grave without getting it. That's a shame. And that's on every one of their heads. They got to lay their head down at night, every single night. And if that don't keep them up at night, I don't know. They ain't got no conscience. There's no way they could have a conscience. I know I wouldn't be able to lay down at night and not think about it. It would eat me alive. Butler has a long list of warrants, no doubt using his authority to threaten possible witnesses. He keeps putting out these indictments. Oh, we've got these indictments that go back, 20 years or something, I think I saw on the newspaper. Oh, but make sure, because there's lots of people who have the same name. So make sure you call the courthouse and ask for the date of birth and other identifiable information. So that way you make sure you tell us the right one. Are you kidding? Oh, so what you should have done is put a help wanted ad in the newspaper. Rats needed. Informants wanted. That's what you should have done. Because that's all you're doing. And then somebody commented on the Facebook post about it. And they were like, none of these people are hiding. I've just seen 10 of them at the grocery store. Most of them, or some of them's even posting on Facebook. I saw one of them hadn't made a post on Facebook in like 2 years. As soon as their name came out in that indictment, they were posting away right there on Facebook. He used to be a protected one. He ain't so protected anymore. I'm telling you, it's just a mess. Tell me one person who has asked victims to come forward. They are scared. Who will? That's right. I'm the only one that's asked. I'm the only one that's asked any questions. I'm the only one that's ever mentioned any of this. From what I understand, there was a plan in place to keep all of this on the down low. Everything after the pew-pew happened. There was a plan in place to control the narrative and just control the whole thing until my show came out. My show came out and kind of blew that plan all out of the water. I didn't know. I have no idea. And I honestly didn't have any idea that I'd stumble onto most of this stuff that I've stumbled onto. Like, that's what I was saying at the very beginning of the show. I thought a lot of it would end up being rumor, you know? Like, you always expect the worst, but you hope for the best, you know? And I just thought, how many times have we heard rumors and then it come out that they were just widely exaggerated or, you know? So that was really what I was kind of expecting. I was expecting my suspicions to just be, you know, just that, suspicions. I had no idea. I had no clue. And it's like every time I think it can't get any worse, oh, hold on to your hat, because the next thing I hear is 10 times worse. It always can get worse. Don't ever think this is as bad as it can get. I keep expecting them to try and indict me on something. I'm telling you, I don't know what they would do, but I expect it. That's what I've been expecting, because they do it to everybody. I mean, I haven't been in trouble in years. Long time. I don't do anything to get in trouble. I stay at home. I go to ball games, I go to practices. That's it. And I work all day. If I'm not on the show, I'm still working on the show. You better believe it. I work all the time. Just blows me away. Yes, Miss Tiffany. Old DD. Yep. Nene, we need to be steadfastly praying for the lady who cleaned the courthouse. I guess I missed that. He and the coroner, Marty. That was a mess, too. Our coroner was a nut job. Very, very physically abusive. And there have been many charges against him on the front page of the paper that he was protected from. We'll read that. We read it once on the show, but it was several months ago. And a lot of people that watch today didn't watch back then. So we'll cover that again. Didn't I hear someone say in chat one night that Jennifer's husband has disappeared? I don't know. It was just an audio file, Miss Victoria. It didn't have any closed captions. Now you might be able to enable them on your end, on the video, on your end, hit the CC. They might have been able to do it there. And on Facebook. I streamed it on Facebook too. And if you'll go to the Facebook always has automated captions. So you might find them on the Facebook one. Nobody wants on that bandwagon. Yep. Pray for protection. The weapons formed against you will fail. Absolutely. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Made it to head of nurses at ARH. Yep. Yep, I don't think his post was intended for anything but to shut everyone up and intimidate. He ended up intimidating so many people on probation, on parole, in drug court. I don't know how he could prosecute anyone in this county after the stunt he did. I have no idea. I got them all, honey. I got them all. Is the 90 indictments in this week's newspaper the ones he's bringing out? That's some of them. They released a whole big bunch of indictments last week, too, I think. I don't read the Mountain Eagle anymore, so I couldn't tell you. I might glance at it on my way out of the grocery store or something. But I found that a lot of the newspapers around here are also very political. So, and I didn't realize how political they were until recently. I never had any reason to even think about it before. Information is changing. You guys have heard me several times. The way that we get our information now is changing. You know, there's a whole lot of us independents now. And a lot of the old traditional ways, they don't like it. They don't like it at all. Because they're used to having the power and the control of the tongue. They're the ones who tell the story. So if it's their friends who is their source, if their buddies giving them the story, then they're going to probably write it how their buddy tells it to them, right? Well, that's what I think happens. And if there's a big story and they don't want them to mention it, don't want them to say anything about it, I don't know if they would bury it or not. I have no idea. But, you know, it wouldn't be I say this a lot, it wouldn't be a stretch of the imagination to think that they wouldn't in a small town, would it? It was recorded. Miss Terry, That's why NAACP and other civil rights organizations need informed, needs to go to higher places outside the state. I seriously doubt Frankfurt would care about the people now. Too little, too late. Yep. Thank you, Danny. If I saw Elizabeth harassing any kid or hurting a child, I would not be on here. The people that hurt anyone are the ones in the courthouse. I feel bad for their family, but all Letcher are victims. Thank you, Danny. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Anybody who follows me knows I didn't do what Matt tried to put out. And all those people that jumped on him didn't ask for proof. They didn't ask for anything. They're just, oh, brother, I'm so sorry this happened to you, brother. Oh, my gosh. She's such a horrible person, brother. I'll go unfriend her right now. Thanks, dude. Now I can actually see my friends' posts. I didn't know I needed decluttered that bad. You did me a favor, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate it, man. And I'll just tell this too. You know, your social media gives you analytics. You know, it tells you certain things. Well, I went to that day. You know how many people unfriended me? 140 people. Do you know how many followers I gained that same day? Over 2,000. Yeah, dude, it worked. You just sent them all to me, just in a different form. They ended up coming and following instead of being my friend. I mean, I don't know what he thought that was going to do. Not everybody believes liars. Yes, Miss Christie, I got a Facebook, and I think it's up there in my links. If you'll go to the home page, you can go like right underneath the picture and stuff. It should be in there in those links, my Facebook. It's under my name. I need to fix that, but it's a lot of work. This show is a lot of work, especially for just one person. And I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody. There ain't nobody ever has access to any of my stuff. So everybody can be very comfortable in knowing that my sources are anonymous. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this one tonight. We got school tomorrow. And you guys have a great rest of your day. Tomorrow we will pick back up with Daybell, but that'll be fine. As long and drawn out as what it was, we'll just be able to skip right through the breaks. We'll pick up where we left off. And then tomorrow night we'll have our show as usual. Okay. All right, guys. But Miss Connie, thank you. Sarah, thank you for renewing your membership. And Crystal, bless you, sister. Bless you, bless you, bless you. And we'll just say another prayer again. I think we'll start closing our show with a prayer because, that's the only person I depend on. Lord, we just thank you so much for being here tonight. We praise you, Lord. We lift your name up. We ask that you'll go with us, that you'll walk before us and go ahead and make the path for us to follow you, Lord. We ask that you forgive us for our sins, give us strength, and give us confidence, Lord, to move forward and go forward in whatever it is that we're trying to achieve. I pray that you will touch each and every one of us, our health, our physical health, our emotional health, our mental health. I pray that you give us stability, that you give us just the ability to live a happy life, Lord. At least be content. You can do all things, Lord. You know all things. You are the all-knowing God. We rely on the fact that you see everything and that you will have your justice. Well, we just lift your name up, Lord, and we love you. We thank you for everything. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, y'all. Well, you have a great rest of your night. Stay warm, stay blessed, and peace out, Girl Scout. Bye.
Hide from hillbilly crime.
You can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You may not know that there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dark pass away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds. Whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside. A treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't mask the cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise. All the